And we're live, everybody. Welcome to Whiskey Charlie, the War Game Chat, our live show every month on YouTube. I'm Mo from Mo's Game Table, and joining me tonight is my co-host, the War Game Wizard from Kev Sharp from the Big Board. How's it going, Kev?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Not too bad. Hanging in there. It's a crazy day today, and I know you had a crazy day too.
Yeah, just a weird one. Super busy. It's like everyone's like last minute. Oh my gosh, we need to do this.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, holidays are in 2 days. This needs to be done now. When did you know about this? August?
Yeah, like a quarter ago.
Exactly. It's like, oh my God, geez. Well, Nate is not going to be able to join us tonight. He may come in a little bit late if he's able to make it or not. Not sure, but he does have a family commitment tonight, so he will not be joining us. So it's just me and Kev. We have just us two clowns to keep you guys busy for the next hour or so. But we were going to talk about, things we're planning for the holiday breaks and games we played this year a little bit. And then I know Kev's got a big list of all the games he's going to play next year. So
I'm playing stuff, man. We're going to do it.
And in the chat, make sure you guys comment on what you're looking forward to for the Christmas break, as well as what you're looking forward to in 2021, aside from it being a better year, and maybe even have some in-person conventions. That would be a nice change.
Wow. You mean face-to-face dice rolling?
What is that? Exactly. That would be nice, right?
Oh, golly.
So, what have you been playing lately, Kev?
So I just set up and have gone through like a rocket 3 or 4 scenarios of Lock and Load's We Stand Alone, the easy company stuff. That's been a blast. Played like 3 or 4 of those scenarios, and I decided to post them on my blog and wrote badly about them, and then set up, and I'm going to say it wrong again, so Dan Pancaldi or Pancetta or whatever his name is can yell at me about it. Arete, the TCS game. I'm rocking through that bad boy. It's playing super fast, but a battalion of Italian tanks just arrived, so we'll see what happens. That's pretty cool. They're the 2 main things. And Black Swan just set that up. I want to get that started for sort of like 2021. But wow, lots of people. Look at all you guys. Blue Tweezers, John is here, and Nick, and everybody. Richard, Hex to Hex. What's up? I saw Dave Thompson's in there too. You said I interviewed him the other day.
Yeah, I did. That was great. And it's always good. You do a great job with those deep dive interviews with the designers. That's fantastic.
Well, yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
If you guys haven't checked out, if you're not already subscribed to Kev's channel, I'm sure you probably are. Go subscribe and check out his interviews. He does a great job with those interviews from all the different designers with the deep dive interviews. So
we're trying to get up to 11 subscribers. So if we could get that by the end of the year, that'd be awesome. Let's go. Let's do that. What about you? Have you played anything? You've been punching out a bunch of video.
Yeah, lately the thing that I've been spending a lot of time with shooting videos was Aliens, Another Glorious Day in the Core. I got the whole bundle because it's like,
did you really?
Oh yeah, I went nuts because I was just like, I haven't played it yet. I've just been putting together the miniatures because the miniatures are on screws and you got to put them together, glue them and everything. So I was like, I'm kind of up in the air going, do I paint them or do I play them? And I'm like, last night I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna wash them. So I put them in a little bath and give them some soapy water thing, let them dry. So I'll probably hit them with at least not a base coat, but a primer coat, and then maybe either paint them from there or play them from there. I'm not sure, just to get a feel for the mechanics. But everything says to me, paint them, because then I want to get on the table and have the full experience.
They look cool. I saw a bunch of questions being posted about the game.
I even got this. This is the assets and hazards. So you have like little miniature computers, the miniature minigun, the eggs, the what do you call them? The face huggers, the whole 9 yards. It's like everything. So I was like, I'm going to go all in because I love the IP. So I figured, what the hell? And it is tactical. It's a tactical game. So it's a skirmish game. So
is that the Aliens RPG that the same guys that are doing Twilight 2000, or is that something different?
No, that's by Gale Force 9. That is just a standard tabletop tactical game.
Okay.
And I did get the RPG as well, and I figured that's the other reason.
You did.
Now I have the miniatures, so now I can do that for the RPG. But I'm kind of torn on the RPG because, I don't really do a lot of RPGs, but I've never been a GM. So I don't know if I would be a good GM or not. And being a GM, you're kind of, well, you're running the experience for everyone else. You're not getting to enjoy the experience. So
yeah.
And some people dig being a GM.
Much more fun to play, I think.
Yeah, me too. That's what I think.
I GM'd way back when I was a wee lad. I GM'd Call of Cthulhu.
Oh, nice.
And I did that for 3 or 4 of my friends. And one of the friends was our Dungeons and Dragons GM. And he came up to me after, he goes, "That was really good. You did a really good job. But next week we're playing Dungeons and Dragons." It's kind of like, "Thanks, but don't bother doing that again. We'll just do my stuff." Because he wrote all of his own campaigns. It was pretty awesome.
That's great.
Hey, here we go.
Yeah, he said, "Just passing, late hours here to see you guys. Have a great Christmas. God bless you, and a safe end of 2020, and hope for good content in 2021. I guess we didn't have good content in 2020.
Yeah, that's kind of rude. Like,
Hathawell's like, "That's not what I meant."
But I'll take to that.
Had an absolute blast with many of your faces this year. So glad that we can entertain you with that, if not our content. But no, thanks, Hathawell. We really appreciate that. And he even gives us a snappy salute. And speaking of snappy salutes, I just saw a thing today on online. I think it was on Facebook or something, but I thought it was pretty cool. There was a delivery driver from Amazon. And he was doing a delivery on a porch, and it was caught on the Ring camera. And the guy drops the package, steps back, takes his phone or whatever device they use to take the pictures, takes the picture, takes 2 steps off the porch, turns around and performs a perfect salute. Pops to attention, does a perfect salute, and then he points to a sign that was at the front of the house. And it turns out that in the front of the house, it had a sign saying Air Force veteran, because the husband was an Air Force veteran. And the wife went and shared it out because they thought it was pretty cool that he did that.
That's pretty cool. Well, you know, because he probably knew that the ring was there and they would see it.
Yeah, exactly.
Very respectful, isn't it?
It's very, very respectful. So I think it was pretty cool to see, and especially in this day and age.
Good American.
Yeah. John Longshore says, "By Stealth and Sea reminds me too much of driving my 73 Ford Pinto." Just saying.
John is such a crank. Come on, stop being a crank.
And then Nick says, "You find ways to enjoy being a GM." Yeah, I think you could. It depends on what you like doing. Do you like to create the story, or do you like to just screw with people? Because there's a lot of ways you can screw with people being a GM.
Well, and it's hard too, because you have your expectations of the story. Stig, you have expectations of where the story might go, and of course, with a crew of 5 or 6, it never happens, right? Mm-hmm. So you've got to either bounce people back on the path or adapt the path, and you have to be, I think, a nimble thinker on your feet, and also be pretty good with spinning the line of BS quickly.
Very true. Very true. You have to be very nimble on your feet, and you have to also adapt to the situation too, because you want to make it painful and scary for them, but you don't want to punish them at everything they do, because then they're afraid to do anything, and then the story never moves forward. Yeah. But you have to find that really good balance. A good GM will find that good balance to open that door.
That's the cool thing about the Call of Cthulhu system, was that you basically every episode you died, right? Because everyone goes crazy. You get these insanity points, and then you go insane. So it's game over. So we always were pulling up fresh characters. Anyway, I got stuck. Ooh, here we go. There you go. Yeah, I'm really keen on this Twilight 2000. I know a lot of people are kind of poo-pooing.
Oh yeah, I'm on it too.
I actually set up a little website. And I want to try and capture other people's activities, like what they're experiencing, and see if you post all that together, if that makes like some meta narrative that might be really cool. Not necessarily run something myself, but I would like to run something myself, but we'll see.
Well, it'd be cool doing what you're doing, like what you're talking about doing. Is like being a clearinghouse for all these stories, and it'd be even better if you can have a map. If there is a way you can do a map, and people could put in battle reports, and it just shows, it pops up on a map where these things are happening. And it would be great if you can even animate it somehow to where you can say, okay, well, here's the line. This is where everything is right now. But a month or 2 in, here's where the line is shifting. It's going different ways, if that's possible.
Yeah, and where all the different groups of people are, and they interact with stuff, and maybe they share bits about, the backstory, and fill in the holes and all that sort of good fun stuff. I think that'd just be a fun idea. Anyway, I've got the little whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. What the site's called. But
I got my set. I don't know the name.
Twilight something. I put a few pictures up. I haven't really done anything with it yet, but obviously because it's not out yet. But the Twilight 2000. I haven't even really posted in the forums anything about it because I don't want to get ahead of myself.
Sure, that's true. And the other thing too I like about the Alien RPG is there's a couple different ways of doing it. You can either play the campaign where it's a standard RPG where, okay, you come in with your level 1 guy or whatever they are, and then you level up as you go along. Yeah. So the story is going to progress, your character is going to progress, things like that. Then you can do the cinematic, which is kind of like the board game. Everyone's going to die. That's just the way it is. Can you be the last guy to die? That's the thing, because it's like the movie. It's the deck is stacked against you, and the aliens are just never going to stop, and you're just all going to die. And right. I think it's kind of cool if you just go into with a one-off, knowing, all right, let's see how brutal I can die.
Let's see how long you can last, or will the alien tear you limb from limb, or will you be
exactly
as like a succubus or whatever breeding hub?
Yeah, you get turned into a nest for them.
That's right. Yeah,
but
and I saw there's all the different characters. I can be a corporate guy, and you could be a mercenary, or a spacer, or a trader, or stuff like that. It looks really, really interesting. I would get sucked down that rabbit hole.
Oh yeah. Because the thing I like about it is the tactical thing, like going in as the Marines. Obviously, I want to be a Marine in this. It would be kind of cool, but at the same time, it's like, all right, let's get in for the shoot 'em up, and let's get done with that. Now, let's go with the space trucker theme. Let's just live in the universe.
Oh, the space trucker looks awesome, doesn't it?
Yeah. Go in there and just live in the universe and see how it goes. But for the the stand-up fights, you got to go in there as Marines. You got to go in there with the smart guns and everything else, and just hose everything you can and see how you die. Because when you die, your character dies, but then you'll grab like a stock character, so you're not out of the game.
Right.
So it's kind of cool. Right. But so let's talk about games you're looking forward to for. Have you taken your Christmas break yet?
You mean from work?
Yeah.
No, unfortunately, I got to work through. We're in the middle of rebooting the company, so we got stuff to do. I'm working on contracts with people to change manufacturers, and then we're suppliers and vendors and all sorts of fun stuff. So no, I will be taking some time off, but it'll be Kev hours. It'll be squeezing an hour here and there of gaming. But I've got some stuff I want to play next year. But over the break, I think it'll be finishing off Arete. I can never say that word right. Ariete, that's it. That's what I was looking for. That one. Ariete. Yeah, there we go. It's just like a little song. Exactly. So that's a war game. We're going to play that. I'm going to get that finished. I've got 6 turns of that left, and then start Black Swan.
Nice.
And tomorrow I'm playing DAC 2 on Vassal with my buddy. We're continuing a long campaign. We're on we've played 7 months of game time. So we've been cranking on that bad boy. But so after that, next year, I've got, I want to prove or disprove my like or dislike of that TSWW Europa replacement.
Yeah.
The company that has the world's thinnest counters, that company.
The paper ones?
That guy. So I'm going to play, I've got Operation Battle Axe set up. It's a 1-mapper. So I'm going to play that next year. I'm going to play a bunch of, I've got to finish off Carrier. I still haven't finished that scenario. I want to do some OCS, some GB2. I'm really excited about, I've been reading a bunch of Eastern Front stuff, so I want to get into Guderian's Blitzkrieg 2 again, and maybe do a 2 or 3 mapper of that.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to get Under an Iron Sky back on the table. Because that, and maybe add the, hang on, my mother is calling me from Australia. Let me just get rid of that. We can
she called you long distance. Let me just get rid of it.
Is that bad? I don't think that's bad.
She's watching right now, and she's like, I know you're on TV.
Why aren't you responding?
I saw you just turned off my phone call.
Disrespectful to me.
I want to, I've got Pacific Fleet. I've read those rules.
Mhm.
Need to get that bad boy on the table. I got to get Time for Trumpets back out next fall. So that's a long way off, but I am going to I'm going to work out how to fix that thing for my little brain. I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. The Peloponnesian War. I got to do some Lock and Load and some World at War and some Great Battles of History and City Fight and TCS, you name it.
Wow.
So that's what I want to do next year.
And that's only in the first week.
That's by January. Yeah, January 7th. Yeah.
That's a good plan. Well, I mean, you have a tendency to do that. You just throw games down and just crank through them. I don't know how you are able to. Now, to explain that, how do you do that? Where you go from one game to the next so quickly? Do you try to read the rules from cover to cover and absorb them, or you just kind of glance through them and then sit down at a table and run through the rules that way?
I am blessed to have quite a bit of space to play, so I have several games set up at a time.
Oh, nice.
And I think my attention span for any given game, or my appetite for any given game, kind of comes and goes. When I do something like Case Blue GB2 combined, yeah, sure, that's all that's up, and I'll just hit that really hard and just grind. But I kind of get I'll read 3 or 4 rule books and skim through them and underline and make notes and do summaries on the side, or I make little. You have a little booklet, and I'll make little notes about the rules, so it's kind of as a reference point. So it helps me learn. I guess that's how I learn, by writing stuff down. And then when I go sit down to the game, I usually, because it's usually been 6 weeks since I read the rule book, I go, oh, what am I doing? And then I read the rule book while I'm playing, and I've as I've gotten older and slower, I've started playing some smaller scenarios first. Versus I used to just jump into the campaign, but some of the games are becoming, I guess, meatier than my ability to grok them. Like, so under an Iron Sky, Deadly Northern Lights, right? That I should not have played the campaign straight up, right? I assumed, because I knew Under an Iron Sky, that I just gonna get in there and get after it. That was a huge mistake. It was taking me, just with rule lookups and stupid questions, to Fabrizio, who was answering them at 1 a.m. his time. It took me 3 or 4 hours to get it turned on, because there were so many choices to make about stuff, and you're like, whoa, I don't know what I'm doing. So that was hello. So that was hard. But stuff like Great Battles of History, I'll just set that up and I'll just start playing a scenario. I don't need to read the rules for that again. And if I get stuck, I'll look it up real quick. And Lock and Load and TCS and all those games, I can just sit down and play those. It doesn't matter how long I've been away, really. I might not play right, but I'll play them, right? I'll get it played.
Yeah.
To my level of satisfaction or accuracy or whatever, right? So,
yeah. That's a good thing about playing solitaire. If you make a mistake, when you make a mistake, not if. We all make mistakes in board games. All of them. When you make a mistake, it's like, oh, I did that wrong. And this is turn 4. I've been playing it wrong for 3 turns. All right, what did I screw up? And then you try to figure it out, and you're like, screw it. I'm just going with it as it is. I don't care. I'll just correct it going forward.
Yeah, you either just go with it, or if it's really bad, you just go, okay, well, I'm just going to, move everything back, or you add steps back. And, if I'm this, right? When we're recording video and writing up narratives and stuff like that, no one sees all the mess, right?
No.
So and doing a live stream, that's a lot harder, and I feel obligated to try and play it more accurately. But you also don't want to bore people to tears looking up rules for 30 minutes because you're an idiot, right? And you couldn't find that one paragraph. So
that's why, people will say, oh, we want to see live streams, we want to see playthroughs. And I've said this before, but it does, I don't know. I think one of the things that, other content creators that do live stream, well, not live streams, but do playthroughs, it's great that they do. And I've been tempted a few times to do it, but if I did, I would never do it live. I would sit down and I would play it and videotape it. And then I'd go back and I'd cut out all the, coughs and look up looking up a rule. I
Right.
cut all that crap out. And instead of having you sit there for an hour and 15 minutes while I go, what should I do here? What was the rule again? Instead of having you sit through that and wasting 20, 30, 40 seconds each time, a minute and a half,
Right.
I would just cut all that junk out and knock it down to 35 minutes,
Yeah.
and then you can watch the playthrough.
Right.
And some people wouldn't like that either. They'd be like, I want to see the lookups. Why?
Yeah,
don't know.
really. So you can never. I don't think you can ever make everybody happy with all of that.
No.
And there are some great comments coming in here too, just by the by, with how other people handle things. But yeah, so tabletop simulator mods, okay. Yeah, so I'm on a screen all day, so I try and avoid being on a screen. I've got lots of people who are really cool who are just inviting me to play games, or asking me to teach them how to play DAC or this or that or the other, and I would love to do all that. But when I say I can do it, a turn every 2 weeks, they're like, oh well,
I want to do a little more than that.
At a faster pace, and that's why I don't have the time. Because getting it right back to someone you're trying to teach, especially if they won't get online with you, right? I'm not typing everything up for you. You got to work it out. So
you got to put the effort in. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't count my hexes out and stuff. I just go, that's 32 hexes. Boom. Thanks for playing. So because like with DAC, that if you want to move 2 or 3 T, and you've got a 1T truck, and it's 10 hexes, you can move 3 T. So you just move it. You don't count it all out. And me and my buddy that I'm playing with tomorrow, I don't even watch his supply movement or any of that. I'm actually, don't tell him this, but I'm reading rules while he's doing his move. I multitask the shit out of stuff too. Sorry for swearing, people. It's not family friendly.
That's good.
But I do a lot of multitasking, right? So I get up every morning. I try and stretch. I do my Bible study. I read one serious book for half an hour. I read rules for half an hour, and then I go start working. That's kind of my morning every morning after I've made my wife coffee. So I try and get in a habit. Oh, damn it. There he is. See, that's Tony who I'm playing with. Shit. I didn't know you were here. I should have looked in the room.
So I posted that up.
I'll be watching tomorrow, I can tell you.
Just did.
Yeah, he's kicking my ass at the moment too, you dick.
Well, some like, Under an Iron Sky, those big games like that, I think, at least for me, but because, I'll go back to how I play a game usually. And this is one of those things where how I also judge a game. I've always done this with every game. Can I take a game, and it's harder with war games than it is with other hobby games and stuff, but can I take your game and literally open up the rule book and say, okay, what do I need to do to set up the game? All right, set up the game. All right, we're set up. Now what's the first thing I do? If I can follow out of the rule book and learn it as I go, it's a good rule book. Right. If I've got to go hunting stuff up, all over the place and there's no index, it's a bad rule book is the way I look at it.
Yeah.
To varying degrees, because it could be slightly bad, could be terrible, But when it comes to war games, a lot of war games you can do that, but then there are others you can't. Others that there's a framework that you have to follow, like Next War, for example. You can follow along with the rulebook to a degree, but then there's other framework that you need to go back and read that will explain different parts of the
the sequence of play is really good in that game if you understand what the concepts behind it are, right? Yeah. So that's actually another game that I can get to that I said I want to play as well, Next War Vietnam.
Yeah, that one. And the one game I want to get on the table for me that I've been wanting to get on the table, I'm hoping to get it on the table, is Blue Water Navy. And Under an Iron Sky, I'd like to get on the table too, but I'm definitely not going to do the campaign. I'm going to start off with just the Checkpoint Charlie and then go from there.
Yeah, so Checkpoint Charlie is great because it gives you a feel for how combat works, and then you can play. There's one, I think it's like it's the Fulda Gap scenario where you're just trying to crank through to Frankfurt, right? Yeah. That's a great scenario to learn, as long as you keep your mindset around being realistic about how you move your assets around, right? Because I think NATO can game that game. You can cluster all your air assets, or your air defense assets around key objectives, and then the Soviets can't really win. It's actually, Fabrizio made a point that I hadn't really thought about, that was tickling the back of my mind, is that that game is more about air superiority and the impact of air than it is really about the ground action and all that sort of stuff. And if you don't have air superiority when you're trying to do your stuff,
you're screwed.
You're really in for a bad time. And that he kind of crystallized that for me. I went, yeah, okay, I'm slow. That's good. I get it now.
Well, that was, very doctrinal at the time, because air was very critical. It still is. It always will be. But it was really critical at that time, because if you didn't have air overhead, then your ground movement was A, going to be spotted, B, you're going to get, probably rained on from above, and C, you're going to get arty on you, because they're going to spot you and they're going to just send it on up, to their fire teams and let them shoot down, drop a whole bunch of artillery shells on your head. So it's really bad in that regard. But it's a tough balance too, because a war like that is going to be a lot of air and a lot of ground. Okay, which one do you want to concentrate on? Do you want it to be just air or just ground?
Right.
If you want to be just air, then you go
the play balance. You mean like
exactly. Yeah. Okay, do you want to go just air? Then you do something like Red Storm. If you want just ground, then it would probably be better off going with World of War 85. That's something like that, because that's just ground heavy. Air is abstracted and stuff.
That's a total ground pound again. Yeah.
So I mean, that's the good thing about having all these games, is every one of them fills their own little spot in this genre, in the hypothetical war genre, which is cool. Well, look, just war games in general are so
to me, it's just so fascinating. I mean, sometimes I'll just you can actually get so spun up around the axle and so into a particular topic that you end up diving off and reading a book and looking up wikis and finding pictures of things. And I was looking at the Ariete game, and
I'm going to get you singing it for. I was playing that Ariete game.
Yeah, thanks for that. And the looking up these armored cars, these scout cars, because I couldn't understand something about them, and then there was something else I couldn't understand about how carriers work, towing guns or whatever. But it just led me down this path, and next thing I know, it's like 4 hours later, and I haven't moved a unit. And I've taken all these screenshots, and I'm asking questions online, and I found there's 4 different types of what are they called? Not Humvees, Humbler. I can't remember the name of them. Starts with an H, but the little British scout cars. Humbler?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Not the Hummer.
Humber, whatever they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
They took a design. They took a design off of another company who couldn't make them because they were in England, because they were busy making all the trucks. So this company took over the design and then had 4 variations of it over 3 years or something like that. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, it's really cool.
Well, in the audience, does anybody else do that? Do you start playing a game and then you go, wow, this is kind of cool. Let me see how these could be employed, or let me see how good these really are, because these seem really strong or they seem really weak. And then you grab your phone, you grab your iPad, your laptop, whatever, and then you start that research. And the next thing you know is it's like 2.5 hours later and you're like, oh, where was I? What was I going to do? I'm still on turn 1 and I've only moved like 2 units.
Yeah, nothing's moved. Yeah,
exactly. Does anybody else in the audience do that?
Humber, there it is. Blue Tweezers got it. Humber, you was something like that.
There you go. There you go. The Humber from Blue Tweezers. And John says, Ariete is a boring song. Sing Mademoiselle from Armentières.
Well, John, maybe we'll get you on live and you can sing it for us.
John, if you want to sing live, I'll bring you into the show. You have to sing, though. That's part of it. You have to sing for your meal. Sing for your meal. And then Nick is saying, yep, it really impacts being able to play the game to completion. That's very true. Because you start looking, going, oh, yeah, this is really cool. Oh, wow, that's really cool technology. Oh, damn it. I only got like half a turn in. Yeah. But, that's why you have different games, too, because like I was saying, Blue Water Navy is the type of game, a big game like that is probably going to have to stay on the table until I'm done with it, whether that's a day, 2 days, 3 days, whatever. And that's the hard part, is like, because it is a big game, the table space it needs. Mm-hmm. But then I don't know how fast it'll flow as far as me picking it up. And the only way I generally learn is like some people sit down and read rule books and are like, yeah, okay, I know the game, or I have a good idea of it. It's like, I got to play it. I got to see it. I'm a visual person.
Right.
And that's why I do that. Or that's how I learn.
Is that how you learn is actually, so you attempt to set up, and then if that's all doable and there's an index and all the rest of it, then you'll start trying to play, and then you'll work your way through it. Right.
Yeah, generally. And sometimes I'll read through a rule book ahead of time. Now, something like Under an Iron Sky, that's a tough one. I think that's one of those ones where you need to do both. You need to read and you need to set it up, and just the best way to do it, I found though, is just setting up and pushing counters around, because go in there knowing, you know what, I'm going to go do this scenario. I'm going to screw up probably anywhere from 30 to 95% of it, but I don't care. I'm going to get a feel for it. That way, when I do read, I'm like, oh, I know what that is now, because now I've latched on to something. It's tangible. It's real to me because now I've touched it, so now it'll make more sense. And then I can read a rule book because now I have a point of reference, mentally in my own mind from the experience. So I think that's the thing, a good way to learn. Now, Academy, I really like the way they do their rule books, because they do that step approach. They're like, here's your rules 1 through 6. Okay, go play this scenario or these 2 scenarios. Really? Really? Yeah. Why do you hate that?
Just don't give it to me in chunks. Like, I'm not a baby. Sorry.
Well, that's what they're doing. They're making it approachable for everybody, which is, I think, a really good thing to do.
Not saying it's not a bad thing. Not saying it's not a good thing. I'm just saying I don't like it, because if I want to,
you can read through the rest of the rules and then just go ahead and jam through the scenario.
Yeah, I just want to, like, it's particularly a tactical game like that, which is one of the reasons why I'm just kind of stuck. That thing's stuck in my craw, and I'm trying to work out how to get that to the table. But I want to play with infantry and tanks. I want to get an exposure to the whole thing, and I don't want to play 2 or 3 scenarios to work out whether or not I want to play 2 or 3 more. I just want to play.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway.
Nick's been doing that. I know he's been reading a lot about the Russo-Japanese War. Now he's buying other games to compare.
Oh, that's interesting.
Avoid Red Sun Rising, Stigler says.
Which is what game is that? I'm trying to.
Not familiar with that one.
Victory Games or?
Who makes that, Stigler?
It's not a GMT game.
Red Sun Rising. And W92 Viking pulling Defiant, got distracted, ended up looking at the history of Königsberg for an hour. Yep, that's kind of what we were just talking about.
What is this Königsberg place, and where is it, and why haven't I been?
And Vex says, I have that visual tester learning modality too. Yeah, I just have always been like that. People say, like with the computer stuff, people say, oh yeah, just do this. Now I can do that sometimes, but sometimes I'll get that deer in the headlights look, and I'm like, because I'm trying to visualize it in my head, and I'm like, can you show me? And then I'll be like, oh yeah, here, boom, boom, and I'm like, oh, okay, go, I'm good. And then I just go back to my computer or whatever, and they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm doing it. And they're like, you didn't understand it 5 seconds ago, and then I showed it to you. I was like, because I saw it. Now I'm good.
Right.
I don't know why it trips a switch, and I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I got it.
There's a buddy of mine that likes to read the rule to me, and I just glaze over, I zone out, and I was like, okay, so what do I do?
Can you go back to the beginning?
I just read it to you, yeah, but what do I do? So I'm horrible like that. Don't read me things and expect me to, be able
if you're going to read it, you better read it in a good voice.
Yeah, it needs to be a sexy, sultry voice, preferably someone under 40, and wearing a bikini would help. So
that's a visual learning thing right there.
Right there, yeah.
But
I'll follow along, and if I'm reading it and following along, that's okay. But if someone just reads a rule to me, it's like, stop.
Yeah,
just tell me what page it's on.
It's good to do that when, like, Nick, and Tom were playing Stalingrad 42 at San Diego last year, not this past year, but the year before. It was the first time playing it because it just came out, and none of us had read the rules. Nick had read through the rules, and we were, I was like, well, we were all kind of had the same thing. Well, this is a standard GMT. It's a standard Simonich game. We're generally going to know the rules, but we'll still kind of look through it. And there were some things we made some small mistakes on. Some things we only did, slightly wrong. Some things we didn't do correctly, but we were catching it and we were correcting it as we went. But when one of us would look up a rule, be like, well, what's the rule? And then one of us would read it out loud, but it's generally just one piece of the case. It's not the entire page. It's like two lines. And it's like, yeah, and then you go, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Or, well, that's kind of open to interpretation. Here's how I think you meant it,
I think it means this because it helps me.
Exactly. It's like, let my bias come in there.
Hey, you know what? So punch up Tony Boardlife's quote there.
Which one?
Well, the most recent one.
Tony.
Tony.
Oh, that one.
Yeah. So Tony, type in your URL. So Tony's got a YouTube channle.
Tony's
been doing Great Battles of History videos, sort of like a how to learn how to play, and they're actually really good. Tony, surprisingly from you, just saying. Sorry, dude. I love Tony. He and I have played a shitload of games together. So here it is. Yeah. So punch his stuff up. You guys should check him out because great channel name, bro. UCUV. But should check him out and give him a sub because he's doing some good fun stuff on his channel. And I just wanted to give him a little shout out.
Nice. I just subbed to him. So he's got 295 right now. Let's get him up to over 300 at least.
Let's get him to 300.
Let's get him to 300. And Ken gets a nickel.
I'm going to get to 300. I'm going to unsub.
Oh, so that way he can come back and be the 300th and win a prize.
Do I get a prize? So funny.
So yeah, and now what are the games you're most looking forward to next year? Because I know you got your list of the games that you're looking forward to in 2021.
I got hankerings for biggins. I want to play big games. I was reading something about the Eastern Front, and I think it was called Panzer Battles or something like that. It was on my Kindle. I was cranking through. I'm trying to get to my reading target on Kindle. Not that I'm goal oriented at all, but I was like, okay. I was skimming through all the books I kind of half started, and I found this Eastern Front thing that was like 70% finished. I was like, shit, I can finish this thing before the end of the year, and that'll help me make my reading target on Goodreads, right?
Nice.
And so you're welcome, dude. And so, and I'm sorry for giving you a hard time, buddy. I was reading this Eastern Front thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, I know all those towns. But I can't spatially know. I can't remember exactly where they were in relation to each other. I have to go set this game up. So I'm probably January. I'm probably setting up Guderian Blitzkrieg 2. I'm just going to get after it and just do something cool there. I don't know whether it'll be a scenario or a campaign, but I want to play something. I got Under an Iron Sky out, and I was thinking about setting it up, and I was like, you know what? I've got so many games on the table right now. I need to finish up all this small, I'm not going to say SHIT, but I've got to finish all this smaller stuff up and just knock them out so I can say I'm done with them and then kind of go for it. What about you? I mean, what are you gonna do next year? Besides drink from that bar behind you.
Yeah. Oh, I love this place. But that's my new game room right there. It's like I would be there all the time, and I'd be, forget it. Czech Liberal Light would come on. But the first one obviously is going to be Aliens. I want to try to get that sometime in the next 2 weeks. And I don't take any vacation until January 1 because we don't have kids, so we don't take time off. We've always done that. We're like, well, we'll let everybody who has kids be home with their kids during holidays. And on top of that, it gives us the benefit of taking off like the first bit of January. When everybody else is going back to work, I get to be off.
Nice. So, well, at least be quiet, right? If you want to go, if you're allowed to go somewhere, and we're not locked in our houses.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, I won't have a problem going anywhere. So, and with the holiday, because I'm going to take 2 weeks in January with the holiday, it turns out I get like 17 days straight. So I'm like, this is awesome. So hopefully get a bunch of content going too. But the one thing I've got to try to avoid, but the poll is so great, is Cold Waters. I mean, Nate brought that up. It's a computer game. It's a submarine simulator. And the last show, Nate brought it up, and he's like, oh, you got Cold Waters? You got to check out Cold Waters. I'm like, yeah, I think I got that in my Steam library. So when I looked real quick while we're on the air, and I was like, I do have that on my Steam library. So at 9 o'clock that night, after we got done, I go into them. I'm like, oh, yeah, let me go check this out. So I jump in. Next thing you know is I'm like, shit, it's 1:00 in the morning. I got to go to bed.
Oh,
I just got lost into it so quick because it's very approachable, especially if you
Right.
played a submarine simulator before. It's not hardcore sim. It's like in that it's kind of actiony and arcadey in a way, but there is a good simulation aspect to it. But there's ways of cheating the game because your default view is outside your submarine.
right.
So it's not like you don't have to do your TMA too deeply like you do in other games and do all this analysis to figure out where the targets are.
Right.
You get the visual enjoyment of seeing the target, see your fish going to them and the torpedo hitting it and them blowing up and all. I like
Right.
that part.
It's
you know?
it's a 3D perspective.
Yes. But you can also go to the plotting board and stay there, which I do a lot of times as well. So I've got at this point, I think I've got 24 hours into that stupid thing. And I'm knee deep into this 1980, I think it's 85 or 84 is this scenario. And it's a spiritual successor to Red Storm Rising. And then they also have a couple others, a 1968 one and a 2020 against the Chinese. So I'm like, oh man, I'm totally gonna get lost in this thing. And they've got a giant mod out there on SubSim because I used to love playing sub games that you can add in 10 different campaigns or something. I'm like, oh yeah, and you can play the Russians, you can play
So
surfer
you
ship.
get lost. You get lost in that. bad boy.
Yeah.
You'll be walking around. Oh, it's a hunt for Red October.
One ping only, Vasily.
Yes, we're going to Massachusetts.
That would be cool to get into that a little bit more because it is a fun game. It really is. But the other one I still need to get started on, but that's another one that, you're going to get started in it. You're going to get lost in it. And it's going to take a lot of hours to get a hold of it is Command Modern, CMONO, Command Modern Air Naval Operations or Command, whatever they call it now, the new name.
Oh, I bought that on sale. I am not even going to touch that sucker. I'm having nothing to do with that. It's just that, but
Yeah. Well, it reminded me when I looked at it, I was like, man, this looks like Harpoon, and I used to play Harpoon back in the day.
Harpoon was awesome.
Oh, that was so much fun.
I had thousands of hours in Harpoon.
The only thing that sucked about Harpoon, well, there were a couple things. Crashes were the worst.
Right.
And it would always crash at the most inopportune time. So I get used to the fact that every time I did anything, I issued orders, save.
Yeah.
Issue order, save. Because I would be 8 orders in from the last save point and it would crash. And I'm like, oh crap, I lost all that. Damn. Oh man, I got to redo it, it's frustrating.
Yeah, that was really frustrating. I used to play that on a laptop at work after work. And this is back in Australia, my ex-wife, and I'd call her and say, oh, I gotta work late, honey. And I'd be 3 hours into it and I'd look up and it's like, oh, fuck, crying out loud. It's 9:30. And my hand would be ice cold from playing and not moving. And there'd be no circulation. And I couldn't feel my fingers, and I couldn't work out what was going on. And my eyes are bleeding. And as I get up, stagger back, get in the car, and drive home, it's like, oh, you wouldn't believe my day. It was really brutal. My freaking CV got sunk, right? So anyway.
Oh, John is totally disappointed now. He just realized that my bar is fake.
Yeah, but you've been there though, right?
Been there. Yeah. This is my retirement. So you can tell by how things just disappear in it. It's like, oh, look at that, the magical bar. But yeah, that would be the fantasy retirement basement. That's
pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like it. I'm sitting in our bedroom. I just decided I got sick of because I work where I play, so I just got sick of being downstairs today. So I commandeered the bedroom.
Nice. And graphic work on Jaws of Victory is stunning. And
yes, very true. Yeah,
Nick said it's a fantastic game, very engaging. We started that game, and we made some mistakes on it, and then I think those guys just ran off on their own doing it. But it was really neat. The Vassal is pretty cool on that. But
I haven't tried it on Vassal.
Really?
No, not yet. No, on Vassal. I've played it, but I haven't played it on Vassal.
They just came out with Brief Border Wars on Vassal too.
Oh, cool. That's cool. That's really cool. You see, all the SPI games got released on
Yes.
on Vassal. I don't think I don't think they realized that there were already like 300 modules, and that the moment they said it's okay, boom, up they all went. Right. So I've probably got 150 that I've been given, by various people.
Yeah.
Who, gone to the effort of scanning all the games and making them.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. So.
That's crazy, though. And when you think about it, though, with this past year has been really difficult on everybody, and especially, well, not as difficult on wargamers because we're a solitaire bunch anyway. Generally, there are games that are better for multiplayer, and when it comes to monsters, it's actually better in some ways to play a solitaire. Is better than others to have multiple people with you because makes setup and takedown easier, and understanding rules, you can bounce things off each other. But with Vassal Tabletop Simulator, it makes it easier now for us to.
Oh, sure.
You want to play a game? Yeah, I roll it up. I don't have to go throw anything on the table. I can just pull it up on the screen. But you lose the tactile stuff, and it does.
Just really different. For me, it's like that's a big part of it, and just being able to sit at the map and look at it all, and mess with the pieces, and do what ify stuff, and it's I don't know. You really would have thought that the progressive thinking decision games would have thought about doing that in March, right?
Yeah.
Maybe, or April instead of now.
This isn't going away anytime soon. This stuff.
It's going to all be better come January 20th. Trust me.
I don't think so. I think this is. I think we're going to be feeling this for a couple of years. I really do. I think this is going to really crimp a lot of things for a while. Yeah. But that's why we have virtual stuff. And speaking of virtual stuff that we have, for you who may not already be aware of it, the Armchair Dragoons are going to be doing another virtual convention on January 15th to the 17th. Yep, 15th to the 17th. We're going to be having another convention. The Armchair Dragoons are going to be having another convention. Some of us are going to be helping out. I'll be doing some shows again with them where we're going to just do like happy hours, some designer interviews, things like that. And there's going to be plenty of gameplay as well from designers that are going to be, hosting their games and showing how to play their games. There's going to be people from different companies that'll be there to show games. And then anybody that knows a game, David Thompson or Kev, or me, or anybody there that knows a game that wants to share it with other people, you're more than welcome to sign up and GM the game. The cost is $3 because you have to charge something using the tabletop company that they're using the scheduling software.
Yeah, Tabletopia or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Well, no, it's Tabletop Events. Tabletop Events. I couldn't think of it. They require you to have a fee, that you have to charge because they got to take a piece of that. So I think the minimum is like $2 or $3. So that's what they're charging like minimum. So and it's $3. It's nothing for 3 days of playing.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. What a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys have not checked that out, if you're interested that weekend, any of the days, you don't have to be there for the whole time. It's $3. You could be there for one event. Jump in and go sign up at armchairdragoons.com. They'll have the information there for you guys to sign up, and hopefully we'll all see each other there and play some games, and have some fun. And we're going to get Kev to teach Ariete.
No, you're not. TCS, if you want to learn TCS, you need to read the rule book and then come to the table. That's all I'm saying.
That's not one you can teach, huh?
Oh, no, I mean, I could, but I wouldn't, because people get too OCD and they'll ask questions and I'll go, I'm not really sure. Just, there's so many little things with that game. Target types. Is it an A type? Is it a B0? Is it a B1?
Oh, really?
And then depending on which, the module you play, you're playing the earlier modules, the counter numbers and the art is completely different to the modern ones. And so it's complicated to teach, so you really have to come well prepared. I could teach you how to play it. I don't want to have to explain
the whole thing, all the concepts,
the difference between
carrier,
non-carrier, area fire versus point fire. Can I fire point fire at a truck, or do I use area fire at a truck? Well, you can do both. Well, which one will be better? Well, I don't care. Whichever blows it up the best. right?
Exactly.
Right.
So Matt says, I would charge $120 for bounce checks November. $3 is nothing.
Whoa. Hey, don't bounce checks. Rule number 1.
Well, as long as you got checks, you got money, right? That's what everybody's opinion is.
I don't think I've written a check in. Well, my wife writes the checks. Don't tell me.
Yeah, my wife writes checks too. I'm like, no, in today's day and age, you shouldn't be writing checks.
Why that shit?
Yeah, it's one of the tough things to try to break her out of, but I was like, no buts. Once you give that check away, you don't know where it's going,
Right.
and it's got the account information on it. So don't do that. But yeah, I think it'd be kind of neat to do another convention. There was the San Diego Historical Games Convention back in November, and now a smaller one here in January, and then I think SD has to do another one maybe sometime over the summer, and I know Orange Hair Dragoons is also going to do something around the time of Origins. I think that's what the plan is now. Nothing solid yet, but that's the plan. So we do have virtual conventions at least to look forward to if we don't have face-to-face conventions. So that's a good thing.
That's cool. I think the Advanced After Combat guys are doing their face-to-face one in Dallas.
In October.
Yeah, that's in October. And then the St. Louis one, I'm not sure. I think that got canceled. But this coming 21, I think it'll be on. So that'll be cool.
Really?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting because I'd like to go to that.
I would go to that. I enjoy it. Those guys are good guys to play games with. When it gets down to it, that everyone wants to play, right? So there's no one's uptight about stuff, so it's pretty cool.
So Matt says, I'm on salary, get paid once a month, sent the checks out a week too early. Ouch.
Don't.
Oh, this is a good point. John says, can we invite Iron Wolf Studios? I'd really like to hear about U-Boat. Oh, Iron Wolf. I thought he was talking Phalanx. I hear that's a really great war game.
Yeah, I heard it's the best war game ever. Best war game ever. Yeah. If you don't play it, you're not a war gamer. It's the future of wargaming.
But let's see what else everybody has to say. Asking about bounce check fees and jail time, I guess. Blame my condo association mortgage company for having to write checks. That's true. That is a good point. But I can't believe that I can see the condo association. I mean, those homeowners, oh God, I hate homeowners associations. They require checks now, or no, you can do an e-check for a $12 convenience fee.
Convenience fee. Yeah, you can take your convenience fee. Yeah, we don't have a homeowners thing where we are. So
that's awesome. I can't stand it.
We don't do that.
Never had one until I moved here.
So Winter Offensive, is that the MMP thing?
I think that is, but I thought that was canceled.
That
22.
I don't think would be very welcome there somehow. I mean, I think Dean Ezek might tolerate me, and that'd be about it. Because I'm so demanding. Why he's so difficult, that shop guy.
And he has to write checks. His wife won't take his cash.
That's because he's trying to give it to her in dollar bill increments. I crack myself up. Oh, this is good.
Hand it to her next time. It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
You don't tuck it into clothing.
Yeah, really.
So Winter Offensive is the MMP convention.
Okay.
And Stigler is going to take off for dinner. Enjoy dinner, Stigler. And I think I think we'll see some of these conventions come back up, but at the same time, there's going to be this is my hesitation on them is there's still going to be social distancing, masks, and everything else. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to sit around all day wearing a mask.
Not doing that. Not playing. If you need me to play with the mask, adios, mofo. Not happening.
Yeah. And I that's just a personal thing. That's not, and that has nothing to do with anything to do with COVID. It's just me personal comfort thing. And I vape and things too. So I'm not going to be like lifting the thing up the vape and then having to go outside and screw that. I'll stay at home and play. Why would I do that?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I've got enough people in town that I can play with. I don't need to go to a con. I like to go to a con because I will get a lot of gaming in and have a lot of fun and hang out with guys that I know that I like. But Yeah, I'm not wearing a mask for you. I'm playing with a guy right now. He is significantly overweight. Morbidly, and as he said, I'm morbidly overweight. I have diabetes. I'm not wearing a mask in my house. As long as you're not an idiot and have been stupid, let's play OCS, right? So we sit 2 feet from each other, hacking on each other, playing.
Well, you shouldn't be hacking on each other. That's not the best thing to do anyway.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
There's a lot of heavy breathing.
So he reads the rules to you, right? Huh?
Yeah. And now the supply truck will move. So.
Can you cover the Zox again, please? I just love the way you say Zoc.
You flipped a move mode for me. Anyway, I don't know what the hell we were talking about. Someone said something about Black Swan or something. Yes,
Black Swan. Yeah, that was.
It's ticket. It's set up. It's coming. And so is Christmas.
Doug wants you to play Black Swan.
Yeah.
And Matt says he's a high school teacher. I have to wear a mask continuously for 9 hours. I'm so used to it now that I don't notice. Way better than teaching online.
I imagine that is the case. And you have my respect, young man.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I said, that's not a statement about COVID. It's just a personal thing for me.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable wearing a mask all day. I wear the mask where I'm required when I'm inside of a building that requires it, or if I go into a store or stuff like that. But the minute I'm out the door, moment comes off. That's just comfortable.
We're even having this freaking conversation.
I know.
I mean, it's been a year, and I just that's what I think of all of this, right there. I'm so over it.
We're all done with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, though, we can get
we're
back.
Doing 21 people for Christmas at our house. Thanks for playing.
Oh, you're a bad person.
I know. Super spreader event. Call the police. Hurry.
Well, this is Texas. You won't have that happen yet.
Exactly.
But in New York, they'd probably kick down your door and send the SWAT team.
Yeah.
And Tony says he's been teaching online since March and he hates it.
Yeah.
I could see that would totally suck because teaching online or having any type of online event, it would be great in some ways. In others, it would be difficult. When you're dealing with kids, that's tough because it's harder to get them to listen, and keep them engaged. So yeah.
Well, people can say you can do Zooms and all sort of stuff, but it's not the same. And I'm just talking like I've joined a new company, and we're I don't know, a couple of months into it now, I guess. But I have not met a single person from the company yet. It's all been virtual, and in my role, I need everyone to buy into what I'm asking them to do, and not being able to sit across from someone and read their full body language and get that connection, that personal connection with them, really has made it hard for me to do what I need to do. And when I make decisions, people are like, well, people push back a lot harder than they would normally if we were all in a room together.
Yep.
You might be reticent in a room, but you're more comfortable putting your hand up, number one.
Yeah.
No one wants to say anything on a call. It's really difficult, is my point. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, no, that's the thing is it is difficult to keep people engaged. And like you said, it's that anonymity factor too.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're 500,000 miles away. I don't screw you, but when you're in person, there's a different, mental state for you. You're going to approach it differently.
Yeah. Well, there's the threat of imminent violence. Oh, I'm kidding.
You're a bad influence.
Well, you know what? I need to think of ways to connect with people, right? Maybe it's a virtual happy hour or something like that with folks.
That's one of the things that I was wanting to do too. I mean, that's part of what this is to have that sort of happy hour thing. But the other thing I want to say is how many people here in the chat right now are kind of new to war games and want to introduce, or maybe you're not new to war games, but you'd like to introduce your son or your daughter to war games, or maybe somebody that's not a war gamer. You want to have a simple game to teach them. How many, if we can have anybody sound off here in chat real quick, are like that? Let's see. We got some other comments here. Wow, everyone's talking about how COVID's hit them pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's tough, man. It is tough.
It's a beatdown. I feel sorry for the teachers, especially.
Yeah.
I see my kids at school going through it, and I know a lot of the teachers at the school. So, Michael Haggerty, they can't see my WTF face.
This is true.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tony's got Bits Creek and Dinosaur Tale battles for his sons.
Nice.
So yeah, those are the only two you have, Tony? You have any others?
Bits Creek is his favorite game other than OCS.
Baby OCS.
Yeah, it's baby OCS. Yeah.
Where's Tony out of?
I don't know. He's 1 hour ahead of me. He's up in Ohio or somewhere like that. Or Iowa, one of those old states. I don't know. Where are you, Tony?
Beck says, I have some people I would love to break in. I even have a lady suitor who is so interested in getting with me, Baby Raby, is that she has said she would play war games with me. Impressive.
Wait a second. What? Hey now. What did I just read?
Read it again. I'm leaving it up there for everybody.
I want to party with this guy.
So Tony's in Toledo.
There we go. Ohio. Right. One of those old states. I said it. Right? Iowa, Ohio, whatever. It's all the same.
And then Matt says, I bought Blitz World and Conflict to play a full strategic World War II game with his 13-year-old with autism. Oh, how did that work out, Matt? Did your child, were they able to grasp it and grok it and enjoy it with you, or did they lose interest?
Probably kicked his ass.
Probably. That's usually the way it is with the kids. They're like, oh, I'm going to teach you this. Dad's going to teach you this. And next thing you know, I was like, wait a minute. Did you read the rules? How do you know this game so well? Because is there anybody that is looking to introduce kids to a war game? Would you be interested in a tank game is my question. So let's see if we get anybody that responds that they would like to get a tank game to introduce their kids or a friend. Which one would be a great intro to wargaming?
I think he's talking about the ones he mentioned, Bits Creek.
Bits Creek, okay. Well, because I know kids, your boys are 8. Huh? I'll tell you what, Santa Grog is feeling happy, so I'm going to send you, let's see if they show.
There you go. Tank on Tank West Front.
Yeah, Tank on Tank West Front and Tank on Tank East Front. Whoa. Send you both.
There you go, Tony.
So Tony, just I'll get with you afterwards and get your information from you. I'm going to mail those out to you. These are copies of my games. So these are not brand new games. They're played, used, but they're in good shape. And I will send these over to you so you can play with your boys and blow some stuff up as tanks.
Yeah, they're actually good games. I like Tank on Tank. It is a fun, fast little thing, and it had great digital versions as well.
Yes, fantastic.
Really good digital versions, actually.
And that's why I figured, something like that would be great, especially with kids, because kids love tanks. I mean, everyone has a fascination with tanks. I want to roll around and blow stuff up. So, we're going to have a little fun here with Santa Grog. So we wanted to get a game out. So Tony will get the copies of West Front and East Front, Tank on Tank, and hopefully they won't get to you for Christmas, unfortunately, because they're not going to get out until Christmas. And right now, I don't know if anybody else has experienced it, but man, the delays on shipping are astronomical. I got something shipped to me from.
I know I've heard about all this, but we haven't had.
Yeah.
I
bought coffee in Texas, and I got it last Monday, or was shipped last Monday. Just got it today or yesterday.
Really?
A week to get here from Texas. In Texas. Texas is big, but not that big.
Right. You need to buy coffee from my place. We'll talk about it later.
Okay, there you go.
I have a place that's really good. $9 a pound.
There you go. Hex to hex, tank game from a tanker. There you go. Yeah, got to have the tank some love.
You are a tanker. That's right.
Yeah. So all those tanks are older than me. So
that's funny.
But okay, so your most anticipated game of 2021. What's your most anticipated game of 2021?
Oh, new game. Oh, gee whiz. Probably Third World War from Compass.
Mm.
Right off the top of my head. Frank Chadwick. It's either going to be amazing or it'll just make a bit of a baggy, you know what, right? So probably that. I don't know what else I have. I really don't have a lot pre-ordered. There's probably an OCS game floating around there, Third Winter or something like that. But they seem to be getting so massive that I'm not sure that I'm going to be that excited about them. I don't know. The system seems to be changing a bit, so I don't know. What about you?
I think I got a few. I've got NATO is one that I'm looking forward to. Third World War, of course, as well. Korea and Air and Armor is another one.
Well, see, I have all those ordered too. Duh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have nothing on order except for those.
And they look to be really, really good. And then Devil Boats is coming out in January. That's another one that's really.
What is Devil Boats?
That's solitaire PT boats in World War II. And it's kind of like the Hunters, that style of game. So I think it'll be interesting because I like those games the way the narrative unfolds in them.
Yep.
They're not the type of game you get into when you want to get a really crunchy game and you want to work out big tactical things. These are, you make some decisions and you enjoy the story. You know?
Sure.
It's really cool. It's kind of like a play your own adventure style game, but you get killed a lot. And I like that because it's like, okay, well, it's not easy. It's not a pushover. This is something that, the danger is real. And I know some people may think, well, it's really on a die roll. It doesn't matter. Well, dice are modeling fate. They're modeling the chaos and the friction. So,
sure.
I think it's kind of neat. And I like the idea of playing that one, or the idea of playing in a PT boat. So I'm going to check that out.
So I'll tell you what I am interested in. C3I Magazine number 34 is coming out.
Battle for Kursk.
Has a
and a Vietnam Solo.
Vietnam Solo and a Kursk game in it. Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Then GMT has obviously Pacific War, but I don't know if that'll be ready. Salerno 43, of course. That's just, a gimme. Man, I have a bunch of crap. Well, who ordered all this stuff? I must have been online late.
I'm going to have to check and see what I've got on there.
Oh, here it is. No, I did not. Who's been in my account? I did not order that. Wow. Apocalypse Road. See, I didn't order that. I need to change. There's something going on here. If I did, that was a huge mistake. Great Battles of Julius Caesar. I would love to get that out and published and printed because that's one of the worst quality Great Battles of History modules in terms of counter quality and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But fantastic battles and interesting, really interesting, all the expansions like Georgovia or Gorgovia, whatever it's called.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, because you were talking about the Battle of Kursk in the Vietnam Solo game for C3I-34, that was just available for pre-order today. So jump on that now. And they're saying, Roger's saying that they may be able to start shipping next week. So that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't. I just saw the email. I haven't ordered it yet. I usually get 2 copies of those. I don't know why. I just like getting 2 copies of the magazine. It's just always such good stuff in it.
So Vex says, I'm not sure if it counts, but I'm really looking forward to Warfighter Fantasy. Is that right after you play U-Boat, or is that no? Like the running gag now.
Warfighter has its place, right? It's a good beer and pretzels game. There's no question about it. But it's kind of goofy, and if you accept that it's goofy, it's fine. But I'm not a fan of it.
Well, I like it because I think it's surprisingly tactical for a card game. You'd think that it would just be on rails, kind of, and parts.
You must be talking about the modern one, right?
The modern, and the World War II Pacific. I don't know about Fantasy because I've not played it, but I would think that the system's going to be the same, so it's going to be, the same type of gameplay. Yeah. Although I do like the idea that now you can send, World War II Marines or Japanese or modern PMCs or whatever
Right.
back to go take on dragons and stuff like that. I think that's kind of neat.
That would be just goofy fun. And I think that'd be cool.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. That's like the late night social deduction filler type of game that you play with a bunch of war gamers and you just laugh as you're slaying dragons with your M16s and whatever
Right.
else.
Right.
Or you have your orcs taking on Japanese soldiers or American soldiers in World War II. I think that would be kind of cool.
Doing a kamikaze charge, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think that'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
But Warfighter is a lot of fun, and I think it's like you said, it has its place, and it's just worth it because the main word is fun. But the other one, I think there's what is it, War in America 2040 or something like that, or America 2040.
Yeah, I think I've seen that, but I'm not.
Well, it's modern future, and I love modern stuff. Like other people, they'll jump on, like you were saying, like the Great Battles of the American Civil War, things like that. A lot of people jump all over American Civil War, Napoleonics and stuff. Me, I'm just like eyes glaze over, uninterested. But modern and near future, I'm all in.
Oh, you know what might happen next year is ELAO from NES, from New England Simulations.
Mm-hmm.
That might come out next year. That would be cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a big Napoleonic battle. That would be very cool. I'm super excited about that game. That's another one I do have on order. Yeah, Skies Over Britain, and Trial of Strength. That should come out next year, right?
Should be.
Aren't you trying to help with that?
Yeah, trying to. There are some the
World of War
battle. Yeah, World of War should be coming out as well too. 2 new editions on that, 2 new volumes of that. So that will be cool. And what else was there? I think it's America 2040. I think is the name of it. But I
think it's a Compass game, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I like the whole idea of that whole future conflict within the U.S. I think it's something that hasn't been really explored a lot, and it's interesting. And then there's Flashpoint, South China Sea, Hubris, Twilight of the Hellenistic World, Mr. President is supposed to come out as well. So those right there are interesting. Now, Pacific War, I'm kind of going back and forth on because I'm like, part of me is like, I want it. Other part of me is sitting there going, the realistic part's going, when are you going to play it? So
it has lots of scenarios, buddy. I mean, it really does. You can. There are a lot of one mapper.
Sure.
Scenarios you can play. I've played the old game 3, maybe 4 times, I think, and all operational scale stuff. It's good. It's a really confusing rule book and crappy counters, but an updated version of that will, as you can see with the pre-orders, everyone's going to want a copy of that guy.
Oh yeah.
And then, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing with. Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I'm looking at the.
Yeah, Richard. Yeah, I was just going to say Richard Kerr was Blood and Fury. I think that's just a. I hope they print more than they need for that, because they're aren't they out of stock on the base system already?
Yeah, I think they are. Yes.
Yeah.
So you want to print more because that's just it's going to sell. And John says, as a modern soldier, I would be irritated to an old fart shooting magic missiles from behind me. So
don't crack me up. He sends me private messages sometimes. I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? It's so funny.
And Tom D says, I have RAF, need to play it. Well, holidays are a good time if you can get some solo time to play.
Exactly.
That would be the time to do it. But yeah, I think that's those are my ones that I'm looking forward to the most. And what about you in the audience? What are you guys looking forward to the most? Make sure you put them in the comments. We're going to be closing out here in a few minutes, but probably about another 10 minutes or so, because I know Kev's got to go, and I just got a message from my wife. She needs me to do some stuff too. We were planning on doing an hour and a half anyway.
Yeah, so. I've got to decorate Christmas cookies, man. It's a tradition.
Decorate them or eat them?
Decorate them, then eat them. That's the that's the thing. Is the other thing that's kind of disappointing with. There are a bunch of things we do outside of the house for Christmas that now you have to buy tickets, or you can only have so many people participate in, and all that sort of stuff. That we can't do this, so we're just not going this year to do stuff. So it's disappointing. So Christmas cookies, it's a must. And so what is BWN?
Blue Water Navy Pacific.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the
Yep.
follow-on because the other one's Atlantic. And the one thing
Yep.
I'm hoping is that they do straighten out because that's my one peeve. Like I said, I've not played it yet, but just from looking at it when I was clipping the counters, putting them away, I was like, man, some of these air units, they're in white on this light blue counter, and it's hard to discern what unit
Right.
it is.
Yeah. Bad graphical choices.
Yeah, you need that you need the contrast on those counters. So hopefully that'll get adjusted in the what would be perfect in a perfect world would be that gets adjusted, and they also make spare counters for those ones from the
Yep.
Blue War Navy. Probably won't happen.
Yeah. Well, that would be smart. That'd be good customer service, right?
Yes. And Matt is saying he's looking forward to EA Kharkov for too long. Seems like I've had that on a pre-order longer, and then my P500s with GMT.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, got you beat. Russian campaign.
Yeah, which one? Like
Deluxe.
the super duper deluxe, or just the regular reprint? Or
Well, the reprint one is great because it's like they come out with the deluxe, and it's like been on there for 5 years. I think I placed 4 or 5 years ago. I placed that order.
Yeah.
But then you hear Compass, they're like, well, we're going to do the reprint of the classic version, and they announce it, and it's coming out in like, I don't know, first quarter. So like within 6 months of their announcing it, it's going to be published. And meanwhile, the other one's been sitting, kind of dawdling around there trying to get it through.
I imagine there's some politics and all that too.
There's also the fact that the other one is it's a straight reprint, and I'm sure they updated some things, but whereas the deluxe is everything in the kitchen sink. Adds the complexity of putting that project together.
Yes, of course I will. I will do that. It'll be fabulous. Oh, Jeffrey.
Fabulous.
It'll be fabulous. Oh,
So,
that's cool. Yeah, I'm in two minds about that EAA system. I'm hoping it's cool. I struggle with it. So
yeah, that is a good point. Fields of Fire is another one of those games that I will not probably touch until I know that I've got 2 or 3 weeks where I'm not going to play anything else, or I don't have to play anything else, and that's going to be on the table as I try to learn it, because it's going to be a time sink to get into that.
Exactly.
And Gilbert Collins has a new game. Very good. So, aside from that, what are your plans for the holidays? You said you're going to have some people over, and are you going to get any gaming in this weekend?
This weekend, yes. Well, of course. I mean, Bayonet Brand. There he is. All right, that's cool. Yeah, we're going to get some. We're going to get some. I'm going to wrap up the TCS module. I'm not going to say the name again, and or butcher the name again. And I'll get started on Black Swan. That's my big plan for the weekend, I think.
Nice. And there's Brant from Armchair Dragoons. We were talking about him not too long ago with the Armchair Dragoons virtual convention that'll be happening January 15th to the 17th. So if you have any questions, here's the guy to ask.
Yeah.
So go ahead and start slamming questions to him, and we'll make him answer in the next 60
that sounds
seconds.
like a great event. What a great idea.
Yeah. And the last one was good. So I think it'll be another good one, because it's one of those things where every time these conventions are done, it's a learning experience because everything's virtual. So it was a learning experience for the people running it. It's a learning experience for the people who are participating and who are running games. And the good thing is by now we're like 9 months, 10 months into this whole thing as far as everyone being at home and using video and stuff, to where now people understand the concept of Zoom etiquette, for lack of a better term. Let other people talk. Not everybody does. Not everybody does, but I mean, they're better at it now, so they do understand that it's different than when you're in person. You can kind of talk at each other at the same time in person and still have a conversation, whereas it has to be very, I'm speaking, I stop, you speak, you stop, because the crosstalk gets lost in digital. So
very, very true. It is difficult for everyone to get their 2 cents in sometimes.
This is true.
We are the pimp masters.
And Brand saying they've almost doubled the event count from the July convention. So that's
awesome.
Really good.
Get on that train.
Yes, I will be doing a bunch of videos, and there will be live videos, and I'll be doing some interviews, and
I'll come and harass.
Yes, yes, and we'll probably bring you in too as well. And we'll have some designer interviews. We'll have
That's
some
okay.
what do you call that? Happy hour type stuff. Some social gatherings. Because one of the things that we're all missing from the face-to-face conventions is the social aspect. They're just hanging out. And I think
Right.
when you have a Discord server, which is what this is going to run through,
Right.
you have your tables for your games where people can go and chat and all, but I think there's also important to have a bar area, as I call it, where everybody
Right.
just kind of comes in, throws on their cameras and their things, and everybody just shoots the shit for a while and everybody has
That
fun.
is awesome. I didn't know that we're doing that too. That's so cool. Yeah, that'd be great to hang out with people and chat.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's real important to have that social aspect just because we talk to each other online a lot, Twitter and
Right.
things like that.
Right.
But when you can put a face to the person, it's better. And we can't do that face to face now in person, but at least we can do virtual. And this also is a way for people that you may never get to hang out with can hang out. And you may have somebody from Australia that
Yep.
because of travel and all, they wouldn't normally come to the
Right.
convention, but now they can because it's virtual. So
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
It's perfect.
Exactly. So, we got a question here for you
What's that?
about Dicenso.
Well, so I didn't play Dicenso. I did get it out and read the rules, but I set up Totala Krieg and played the Poland scenario, and I thought it was interesting. Then I saw they're coming out with a combined module for the two of them, and started seeing more and more content that it perhaps wasn't the be all and end all of World War II strategic games, particularly for the Pacific. So I would hate to say that it's amazing because I don't know. And secondly, yes, it is complex, I believe. I don't think it can't be complex given the rules around the card play and just being in the Pacific and all that sort of fun stuff.
And you got another one. More GTS or OCS, please. A lot of us recently received our Veterans Day sale from MMP.
How is that my fault? What have I got to do with
Not your
fact
fault.
that
It's
you
just
bought
your
a
job now to
you
teach
bought a
them.
bunch of games?
I'm going to buy
I'll
this
just get
because
right on
Kevin's
that.
going to teach me.
I'll just get right on that. The last thing you want me is teaching you OCS, let alone GTS, right? Jeez.
What you should do is have a school, the Kev Sharp School of OCS, GTS, or whatever, and have like a teaching thing, and you charge like $20 to have people come in and learn how to play the game. I bet you a lot of people would
Then I
pay.
have to play it right.
Yeah, that would be the other thing too, which is the hardest thing ever. Unless you know a system really well,
Right.
everyone's going to screw it up.
Yeah.
And then Tony is trying to help shill your services.
Yeah, and God, oh my God, and he's a train wreck. So don't, so
And if you want to learn it, you can go see Ard Wolf on Saturday, the 16th of January at the convention, and he will be running an OCS boot
there you
camp.
go. There you go.
It will run for 11 and a half hours, and that will be the first opening moves. And you should at least know how to set up your guys and get through the first half a turn.
He'll be counting his T's, going 1.
Well, oh, damn it, you spoke. Okay, well, let me start over. 1, you were up to 997. I gotta do it again.
Yeah.
1, 2. I gotta take off my shoes.
Tony.
And then we got one from Brant saying, "What are your thoughts on Vento Nuova games overall?"
Well,
Good quality, very good quality.
Yeah. So the short answer is that I think that Vento Nuovo is innovating in the block game space, and anyone who's innovating in wargaming gets support and thumbs up from me. So doesn't mean all their games are amazing. It just means that that they are interesting and good. So Black Swan, I haven't played it yet, right? So I can't really comment on it. But I loved Waterloo 200. I love like the Kiev 41, Moscow 41. I thought Blocks in the East was amazing. I thought Blocks in the West kind of sucked because it was pretty boring, actually. It's really just 4 big scenarios. The Blocks in Africa doesn't have a campaign game. It only has a series of scenarios, but it ties all the other modules together. So if you wanted to do Monster Big World War II, you could. I really like. I love their solo game, the Inferno on the Volga. That's probably one of the best solo games I've played. So I really like their games, and I love their passion for the games, and the quality is
really top shelf.
Dollar per block or dollar per gameplay, however you want to. I'll stack them up against Columbia or Worthington. They will blow them away on a cost for value for money basis.
Yeah,
any day.
How can you brand a system on blocks? Well, usually your sticker blocks, and that's your blocks.
Yeah, Stickler's an anti-block guy, so that's just him being difficult.
Anti-block. Well, blocks. The good thing about blocks, the one thing I love about blocks, the number one thing, Fog of War. You know, you don't know what's on the other side.
Yeah.
That, you know, we have perfect information with counters, and that's the thing that does suck. You know.
Right. And you know what? The systems for some block games are actually quite cool and innovative. And so I don't want to rag on Columbia because they've done some great stuff with Hammer of the Scots and stuff like that.
Sure.
But it's all the same system, or it feels the same system from them, with a different map and different theme, right? Whereas Vento Nuovo is really doing very different things each time they bring out a new game. It's a twist or a change based on the history. They do the research, and they're doing innovative things. So I think they're cool. So
no, it's very true. And, you know, that's what we want to see. We want to see that innovation, and we want to see these companies that are doing new things and they're doing it well, succeeds. That way they can keep making them and we can keep buying them. And this is a very good point. How many started with Stratego? That's a block game.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it is. Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Anti-block is pro spear. I almost said anti-Glock.
Hey, I'm not anti-Glock. I just bought my son a Glock.
Glocks are awesome.
Yeah.
Combat Tupperware, but they work, you know, and they shoot, and they take a lot of advantage, take a lot of abuse, and that's the advantage to them. Yep. But nice firearms. But that's going to wrap up the show for tonight. We just wanted to, you know, kind of have a little bit of a holiday party. And we did have a Santa Grog showed up, and we've got Tank on Tank going out to Tony, so that way he can play with his boys. And I hope everybody here does have a wonderful Christmas, wonderful holidays, and an amazing New Year. Hopefully everybody has a way better New Year next year than we've had in 2020. But it's been rough. But like I said, don't forget Armchair Dragoons, January 15th and 17th. They're going to have another convention. I hope to see all you guys there. And we'll be playing. And hopefully maybe we'll even get maybe Kev and I will run a game or something like that.
Ooh, now you're talking.
Yeah, there you go. So with that said, guys, I want to wish you all, like I said, a Merry Christmas. Thank you guys for being with us all year round. This is our 19th show, and we look forward to coming back in 2020. So, Kev, Merry Christmas to you and your family, and thanks for being on the show all year.
All the best.
Take care, guys. We'll see you next year.